stranded your girlfriend in a different country? How? Why? Did you just have like a petty fight? Like, I don't... Oh my gosh. Talk about the red flags. Happy apple picking day! As always, a quick reminder for all of our new friends. If you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send it to my subreddit, r/Am I the Bad Apple. And our weekly reminder, I love hearing you guys discuss and converse in the comment section. I mean, there have been so many weeks where like you guys have taught me new things. There have been things that I haven't considered or that I never experienced or that I just never thought of or maybe even forgot. And I own that. I always try to, for sure. None of us are perfect. And that also includes some of you. All I ask is that you guys come into some of these stories and some of these conversations with the same kind of open mind. Sometimes maybe there's something that you can teach other people. Sometimes there are things that other people can teach you. But at the end of the day, if you just don't agree with somebody, that's okay. We can converse in a civil way, in a civil discourse, and like not name call and, you know, just agree to disagree. That's possible. It's okay. Your head will not explode, I promise. We all come from different branches of the apple tree, and those different branches and experiences form our perspectives and opinions, and sometimes we just can't see over them, and sometimes we can't see other branches and other experiences until other people explain them to us. It's all normal. Don't worry about it. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for scolding my wife? I, 29 male, and my wife, 29 female, have one 2.5-year-old child that I'll call Jay. Jay's a great kid who impresses everyone with how communicative he is. He's also in that phase where he's absorbing everything and making foundational ideas about the world around him. My wife, who we'll call Lena, is a nurse who works 12 hours a day, about 3 or 4 days a week. On her days off, she's so tired that she crashes and does whatever she can to recover. On the other hand, I'm a teacher and I get off at 3 p.m. every day and I have the weekends off. Because of this, I do spend a lot more time with Jay than Lena. Jay and I have fun, we play, explore, talk all the time, which when Lena hears about it, makes her feel very guilty as a mom. I'm always supportive and I tell her that she has a rough job and I understand that she's tired after work, but she's her own worst critic. Now, let's bring us to the incident. On one of Lena's weekends off, she woke up late to Jay and I playing in a pillow fort in the den. I told him, hey, go to mommy, but he didn't want to stop playing. I put on my dad voice and told him to go, but it was too late. Lena was so upset. I left the fort and I tried to console her, but Lena has big feelings, and for the rest of the day, Lena did whatever she could to keep Jay's attentions and interest, but that included breaking every structure that she and I agreed upon and set up for him. She let him stay up past nap time, eat sweets before his meals, gave him things when he whines for him, just justified bad behavior, all the things. It's not just one outlier either. Her guilt causes her to break the rules she and I set for Jay all the time. And it makes it so much harder for me on the days where she's not there and I have to be the mean parent. I know I shouldn't have to lose my temper, but by Sunday night, I was livid. When Jay was 15 minutes into a whining session, an hour after nap time, mind you, I again put on my dad voice and told him that it was nap time. I took him from Lena's arms and put him to bed, and he was asleep within 5 minutes. When I came down, she asked me, "What's that about?" in an agitated voice, and I quietly and sharply explained to her that when she's home with him, she does these things, that they aren't what we agreed upon, they aren't helpful to Jay's development, and they actively make my other days with Jay more difficult as I have to reinstill structure, again, making me the mean parent. She cried and it just added to her guilt, and now I feel terrible. I mean, I only meant to uphold what we said we would go with, but maybe that was the wrong time? I don't know. Was I the bad apple? This one's gonna be a little hard for me because again, like y'all know, I don't have kids. I've never had to take care of children before. Like, of course I have like little nieces and nephews who I love very dearly, and I understand that structure can be very important to kids, but I don't actually know what it's like to like set up those structures or how strict you're supposed to be with those structures. Like I don't know. And I taught high school, like I didn't teach the itty bitties, so I have no idea. What I do know is that Avery's family had a very similar dynamic. His mom was a third shift nurse in the psych ward, bless her heart. And his dad was a school teacher, and I know that Lynn really struggled with missing things and not being around, and I know that was really hard for her when she was still around. Even when the boys grew up and she was still working the same kind of schedule, you know, just missing things in general was really hard for her. So I have a lot of sympathy for Lena, for the mom. I know how hard it was for my mother-in-law when she was alive and she experienced that. From the lack of experience that I have, I feel like I do understand where the dad is coming from, but I feel like maybe it could be handled differently. Like if you're aware that your wife is struggling with not being around your child and is therefore like letting them break the rules and be less lenient. And again, I don't know how important keeping to those structures and those things are. Like I don't have kids, I don't actually know. But I feel like if you're actively aware that your wife is struggling with not having the kind of time and you see you're letting him break the rules, like I didn't see anywhere in the story where like, oh yeah, I talked to her about this while he was taking a nap or while blah, 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 blah. I think like if you are aware of these things and you're aware that these things are happening, then, you know, maybe having a conversation with her about, hey, what are some things that we can do to make sure that you have time with him that isn't offsetting his schedule? Or maybe can you be a little bit more lenient with his schedule and let him be off schedule every now and then? Like, I don't know how possible that is. Parents, you guys are gonna have to tell me because I don't know. But I feel like, you know, having a conversation with her and acknowledging to her first, like, hey, I know you really miss him during the day. I know you feel like you don't get enough time with him. Instead of just snapping at her and immediately like, whenever you're here, you make it so much more difficult. Like, I feel like that was the wrong way to start the conversation about it. Like, if she's already having big feelings about this, if she's already very self-conscious about this, I just don't like how it was brought up, you know? And again, I would really love for the parents to let me know down in the comments whether dad is being reasonable or unreasonable, because I really don't know. Even I have friends who have kids who, like, I know some friends have a very, very strict schedule, and I know some friends who don't. And I don't know what's supposed to be better or healthier. Both kids seem great to me. So I don't actually know how that stuff works or how it's supposed to work. So I'm definitely looking for your guidance. But for right now, I'm gonna go with crabapple, specifically because I don't like how the situation was like initially brought up to her. Like, he's having a fit, you grab her out of her arms, send him to bed, and just come down, oh, you're the problem, it's always a problem. Like, I feel like this could have been addressed and handled in a much more productive way. And instead of approaching it with a, you're the problem, saying, hey, I feel like you are really struggling with not getting enough time with him. I know that you miss him, you work really hard, that's great. How can we find some more productive ways for you to spend more time and do the bonding? Like, I just feel like that would be a much better and conscious approach, you know? So I'm going crabapple for that reason. And I want to remind everyone that when we give out like bad apple and crabapple ratings, it's not even like, just because they get like a bad apple rating or a crabapple rating doesn't necessarily make them a bad, like, obviously, you know, a lot of times we see bad apples and we're like, oh, they suck. They're bad. They're not very great. But there are also times where like someone can have the best intentions and someone can, I think, be a good person and just make a bad choice. That's 1000% possible. It happens. I think it happened last week, to be honest. Just like with here, I think the dad has the best intentions, and I think he just didn't go about the situation the right way personally. So I'm going crabapple. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for flipping out on my fiance after her daughter almost got me arrested? I, 38 male, got engaged to my fiance, 37 female, about 3 months ago. We've been dating for almost 3 years, and she has 2 kids from a previous relationship, 15 female and 12 male. Their dad's very involved in their lives, and for the most part, all the adults co-parent and communicate very well. I get along really well with the 12-year-old, but I've always struggled to build a relationship with my soon-to-be stepdaughter, Riley, the 15-year-old. She's made it very clear to me, my fiance, and her father that she doesn't view me as a parent and doesn't want me to try to be a father to her because she already has one. A few days ago, my fiance sent me a text asking if I could pick up Riley from school because she had something come up at work and it was gonna keep her late. My fiance usually picks up Riley once a week and brings her to a chiropractor appointment for a sports injury she has. She told me she would call the school and let them know that I would be picking Riley up because I wasn't on the approved pickup list and she just wanted to make sure there'd be no problems. However, when I got to Riley's school, I guess it became apparent that my fiance forgot to call the school. The school has locked doors that require you to have a code or to be buzzed in at the office, and I buzzed into the office to let them know that I was here to pick up Riley and that my fiance should have called to let them know. They didn't know anything about it. I was left waiting outside for 5-10 minutes while they tried to figure it out. I tried calling and texting my fiance, but she didn't answer because she was busy at work. And then the school resource officer, like an actual uniformed cop, came out and told me that I would have to leave and that if I didn't, he would arrest me for trespassing. I tried talking with him, but he just kept saying that I wasn't authorized to be on school property and I had to leave. I had no choice but to leave without Riley or I was gonna get arrested. Finally, an hour later, my fiance finally called back. I explained what happened and she apologized for forgetting to call the school because she just got so distracted with work and she told me she would figure it out and meet me at home. Well, when she and Riley got home, Riley went straight to her room. My fiance sat me down and told me that Riley lied to the office and told them that she didn't know who I was and had never seen me before. She thought it would be so funny. She told me she explained to Riley how dangerous and unacceptable that was, and she was gonna work with Riley's dad to figure out a punishment, but needless to say, I didn't take it well. I'll admit, I did raise my voice to my fiance, and I'm not proud of that. I didn't yell per se, but I did get louder than I usually talk, and I'm not proud of that. She told me to calm down, and I told her that I won't calm down because her daughter almost got me arrested because she thought it would be funny. I told her that she's also just as responsible for this as Riley because she didn't call the school and put me in a position where I looked like a creep or a predator. My fiance thinks I'm overreacting and that I need to let her and Riley's dad handle this, but I don't know. You guys tell me, am I the bad apple? Ooh, yikes. Okay, that's kind of intense. So I totally understand that the mom, the fiance, got really busy at work. At the end of the day, she did drop the ball. And I'm not saying that like it's not understandable. I'm just saying that yeah, she forgot to call the school and like that put her fiance in a position where Riley could manipulate the situation. And again, I'm not saying it's not understandable, but the mom did drop the ball. She forgot to call the school for the kid. And that happens sometimes. People make mistakes, people forget things. I forget things all the time. I'm not saying that makes her a bad person, but I don't like how she dropped the ball and then her 15-year-old daughter played a prank. You guys know how I feel about pranks. I hate harmful pranks. Like, it makes me so mad. It makes me so angry. I can't stand it. I hate everything about it. Gosh, it would be so funny if I got the school resource officer to arrest him. No! Like, and she's 15. It's not like she's 8. It's not like she's 12. She's 15 years old. And that's what she think would be funny? Like, she's already showing that she's willing to lie and manipulate and mess with in very dangerous ways, okay? And she's 15. She understands what a police officer is. She understands, like, the concept of what a predator is, right? Like, she knows. That's unacceptable, so unacceptable. So I definitely don't think it's unjustified to be mad in general. I also don't think it's unjustified to get more angry when they're like, well, you're just overreacting. Like, don't worry, we're gonna take care of it. No, like, I would feel just as invalidated. Like, I feel like that's very invalidating. To have something that's scary, to have a police officer threaten you to leave, and then just be told, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Well, no, that could have been a very dangerous situation. Now I'm taking his word for it. He said, I didn't yell, but I was louder than I was angry. It was louder than I usually talk. I'm gonna take his word for it and assume that this was not like a screaming match kind of thing. And I think that his anger and frustration in that is really justified. I totally get that some kids really struggle when their parents remarry, but Riley's taking it way too far. Like that's absolutely unacceptable. I think it needs to be addressed with stepdad also. No, I think regular discipline and regular everything when it comes to Riley, just mom and dad, 1000% fair. But if she's purposefully putting him in dangerous situations and manipulating situations and things like that, I do think that he needs to be involved. I think that makes sense to me. I mean, you guys, parents, especially blended family parents, like you guys can let me know, but I think it's fair for him to be involved not only in the conversation between the parents about it, but I think it's also fair for him to be with the presents as they talk to Riley and give out the punishment and things like that, because she does have to learn to respect this person. She does have to learn to respect people in general. Like, her lack of care or consideration for a person in general is really concerning. So I think the wife invalidated him. I'm not planning on doing that. Like, I'm going good apple here for sure. Yeah, I feel good about that. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for refusing to have my friend's boyfriend at my party? I decided I wanted to throw a Christmas party and ask my friend Lily if she'd host with me. We were gonna go shopping together so that we could get decorations together, but she couldn't go, so I went and got the decorations and decorated everything without her. We end up making a guest list and we invite 8 people and 7 could come. A week later, Lily said she started dating this boy and asked if she could invite him. I said no. I met him and I didn't really like him. She kept insisting and I told one of our friends about it, and she also said she would not go if Lily's boyfriend was going because she didn't like him either. Then another friend said that Lily's new boyfriend makes him uncomfortable and she doesn't want him around either. I started thinking that I don't want a bunch of my friends to not show up because of one guy that nobody liked. Well, Lily said that if her boyfriend couldn't go, then she wasn't gonna go. So I said, fine, I guess you're not invited then. But now she's being kind of weird. But now I'm starting to feel bad. I mean, Lily is my friend and I don't want to lose her as a friend. So was I the bad apple? Okay, I have 2 thoughts. First of all, if you're going to ask someone to co-host a party, I think it's really unreasonable to tell them their boyfriend can't come. Like, whether or not she showed up to get the decorations or decorate, whatever. If you're co-hosting an event with somebody, I think it's very unreasonable to tell them their boyfriend can't come. Like, that makes no sense to me. And I get that you're like, well, I don't want other people to not come. Okay, then don't co-host with her. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Well, and if your thing was, well, I don't want other people to not come, well, if you're co-hosting with this person, I would assume that she's a better friend to you than other people. So you're okay with your better friend not coming than the other, like it makes no sense to me, you know? Like, one time, I'll never forget. One of my roommates in college, she and Avery did not get along, and I will never forget that, like, she got married and she invited me, but this was an out of town wedding, and specifically told me she didn't want me to bring him. And she was floored when I said I wasn't going. And I'm like, I'm not going to a wedding without my boy, like, he was my boyfriend at the time, but I'm also not going to an out of town what? By myself? No. I don't understand why people think that's reasonable, but whatever. Anyways, second thought. If you are having an event or a party, like a wedding, for example, or a Christmas party, you know, one of the 2 examples mentioned, and you tell someone, I want you to come, but I hate your partner and I don't want them around. I feel like that is your right when they're not co-hosting with you. But I think you need to be prepared for that to fundamentally change your relationship. Like, I never spoke to that girl again. I thought it was so rude. I thought it was that's weird. That's inappropriate. I just, be prepared that when you make a decision that impacts somebody else, they have a right to have a reaction to that decision. And it might not be the kind of reaction that you want. So just know that. I don't think this was the right call for a bunch of reasons. One, this is supposed to be her party too, and you're telling her, no, you can't come. 2, you're disinviting a co-host, your best friend's boyfriend, and you're surprised that she's upset about it. That's weird. Why would you be surprised about that? I get the whole, like, and I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, oh, but he makes people uncomfortable. I never said he didn't, but I'm telling you that if you have a friend and you act that way, like, you just have to be prepared that you're gonna lose that friend. And I also, like, I'm feeling like these people are younger, you know? I'm feeling like these aren't people in their 20s or 30s. So, oh, he makes me uncomfortable. Well, why? Is it because he has weird interests that you find strange? Is it because he says creepy things? Is it because he gets too close? Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of information. And just from my time teaching high schoolers, sometimes when people just find others strange, like not like them, they like use the word uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that their uncomfortability isn't valid in any way. I just know from teaching high schoolers that sometimes words like that get thrown around to just mean, oh, well, he's different, I don't get him, I think he's weird. And I just don't feel like I have enough information on that part, personally. Again, just from my experience teaching high schoolers and hearing how they talk about other people. Actually, no, there's an update. Okay, it does say, so the jokes aren't, yeah, I was right, okay. It's not that he's like creepy and pushing boundaries and sitting too close or whatever. He makes them uncomfortable because he's rude and they think that he's bad for her and that he pokes fun at her too much. Okay, again, not saying that he's a good boyfriend, not saying he's good for this Lily girl, but saying that, you know, it's not like he goes and makes girls uncomfortable as in he's sitting too close and hitting on them. No, they just don't like him for their friend, so they're uninviting him. Yeah, I think whether or not the friends are right, I think that in that kind of situation, they just have to be prepared to lose Lily as a friend. Now, I'm going to go crabapple because while I always think you have a right to let whoever you want or don't want into your home, this was technically supposed to be Lily's party too, and so just uninviting her because you think her boyfriend is toxic to me is not the move. Personally, in my opinion, like that's not how I would handle the situation at all. Not even gonna lie, kind of borderline crabapple. Like, your new boyfriend is mean to you and I don't like it, and if you're not gonna listen to me right now in this moment when I'm disrespecting him, then you can just leave. Well, like, how do you think she's gonna react? Girl, like, what? When you have a friend going through stuff, like you say she's going through stuff, like, be there for her. Don't kick her to the curb. Like, I just personally don't agree. I'm going to go crabapple because I can definitely see the argument of like, he's a toxic person, I don't want him in my home, all that jazz. And I think that's your right, but I don't like how it was went about, especially like, this was supposed to be Lily's party too, and she was like, well, if he doesn't go, I don't want to go. And you're like, okay, fine, you're uninvited. Like, I just don't love how those things were gone about, personally, you know? So, I'm going crabapple. And I think I could be swayed to bad. I don't think I could be swayed to good. For sure not. But yeah, that's my opinion. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for abandoning my girlfriend in a foreign country? So here's the deal. My 28 male girlfriend, 27 female, of 2 years and I planned a 2-week vacation to Italy. I paid for the flight, hotels, everything, because I make a lot more money than she does, and I wanted it to be a stress-free trip for both of us. Everything was great until the last day when she tells me she wants to stay longer to find herself and think about our relationship without me. She didn't discuss it to me beforehand, it just completely blindsided me. I was really hurt and I told her that if she feels like she needs time alone, that's fine. But then she's also gonna be independent financially during her little trip extension. I'm not gonna be paying for a new return ticket whenever she decides to come back. Well, now she's upset, calling me unsupportive and selfish, and some of our friends are saying that I'm being a jerk because I left her stranded and abandoned in a foreign country without any financial help. So let me know, Reddit. Am I the bad apple for abandoning her in a foreign country? No. No, you didn't abandon her, what? What kind of entitled person says, I know that you just took me across the country on this wonderful, luxurious vacation in Europe, and I appreciate that. However, I'm going to extend this trip that you graciously paid for and want you to keep paying for it while I decide if I want to be with you, because I have to think about our relationship and me and stuff. What? What? In what friends are telling you that you abandoned her? You need some new friends, my guy. Like, I can't, if she just wanted to stay and she's like, I'm gonna find my way back, like, I wanna stay for a bit, and you were like, okay, and then like you got mad at her for staying, my tune might be a little different. But she just like let you know, hey, you're gonna go back without me, and I want you to fund me staying a couple more weeks while I decide if I want to be with you or not. Like, cause like what else does I need to think about our relationship mean? Right? Like, no, you can't convince me she's right on that. There's no way. There's no way. Who has the audacity to tell someone, I don't know if I want to be with you, but I would like you to fund an extra 2-week vacation for me? Like, in Europe, in Italy. I'm floored. Nope, no. This guy, good apple, man. What? Crazy pants. All right, I got 2 good apples and 2 bad apples. Definitely let me know if you got anything similar or different. Those were at least my votes. I cannot wait to hear yours down in the comment section. And for your well wishes today, I didn't know this, but it's apparently National School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So thank you to all of our wonderful school bus drivers. Make sure you tell them thank you today. And if you do not go to school or you don't ride the bus or anything like that, do not worry. It is not only National Picnic Day, but it's National Cherry Cheesecake Day. So go find you a picnic, maybe pack you some cherry cheesecake. If you don't like cherry cheesecake, that's okay. You can still have a picnic with whatever kinds of food you like. Let me know down in the comments what you would take down on a picnic. As always, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.